Oh, hi YouTube. This is Stickman. I'm going to do this little video here for you real quick. This is videos for the Bendpak Ranger BL-3500 Lift. It's meant to be a definite budget lift for people who can't afford a 4-post or a 2-post car lift. It only lifts it up about 21 to 24 inches. The lift itself is okay. It is budget lift for $1,035 shipped. It's not too bad. It does what it needs to do. However, I had a couple of bad experiences with this product, so I'm going to show you what they are just so you can be informed. I'm not saying don't buy it, but I'm saying you need to be informed. I think, and not only that, but this message is out to the people at Ranger and Bendpak. Really, I think your product was not well designed, not well engineered, at least parts of it. First problem was, of course, I ordered a 12-volt system, and I got 110. The company I bought it from, which I'm not going to name because they don't deserve any recognition whatsoever, just so you know that all of these lifts are drop shipped directly from Bendpak out in California. So no matter who you buy it from, it's going to come from Bendpak. The website or the company you buy it from is just going to mark it up, and they're going to send their order to Bendpak, and they're going to send the product to you. So just search for the cheapest price because it isn't going to matter because it's all the same product. The company that I ordered from, I ordered it on the 9th. Bendpak's in California, Southern California. I'm in Southern Nevada. So we were all expecting getting it in about 2, maybe 3, even possibly 4 days. After 5 days and nothing showed up, I called back the company to find out that the order had never been placed. So then they hastily placed the order. My deadline was the 17th. I got the motor and the cradle on the 17th. I got the frame, which is tucked under the other car right now, frames, on the 18th. Problem is they sent me 110 volt. I ordered a 12 volt. So I'm going to show you some of the differences between the two. But the first thing I'm going to do is show you this completely ridiculous, stupid carrying thing that they send you. That's it. And this is the 12 volt version. This over here is the 110 version. The 110 version, when it all together, weighs 36.5 pounds. The 12 volt version, I think I said 20 before, sorry. The 12 volt version weighs 24 pounds, 4 ounces. But the big problem is this stupid thing right here. This is terrible. The handle's in the wrong location. There's no way you can put either one of these in here any way you want and get it to pick it up and balance. Virtually impossible. So you're carrying around something that's hanging down like this, smacking the back of your leg. Don't like that at all. The holes are ridiculous. This right here, if you look, this is actually a hole here, a hole here, a hole here, a hole here, and they just warbled them out. They took a grinder and just cut them out. That's real professional. It's not painted anymore. And the other thing is that the 110 volt will match up to this gigantic slot that they now have. How can it not? But they send you these stupid little plastic things. These are ridiculous. Cheapest plastic I've ever seen. I've got spacers for radar detectors that are tougher than this. The idea is that, see, this wall, it's not. It's high in the center and it moves around. So the idea was, since this was not properly designed, to put these little spacers down here so that it was going to elevate it, and then you tighten down the bolts, which, by the way, they send you the bolts with no washers. And so then you put this in here, and it's just ridiculous. It's totally off balance. And I know, I mean, there's quite a bit of weight here hanging off this center spot here. Both these pieces, this is the reservoir for the ATF fluid, which is the hydraulic fluid that it uses. This is a little motor down here. I don't know, to me you shouldn't have things like that hanging off the center block. I mean, it's probably plenty strong, but it just seems like a poor design. And this stupid concept of using these little tiny plates, plastic spacers, makes it a real pain in the butt to try and get the bolt through here, because this is heavy. I guess if you had another person helping you, it wouldn't be too bad, but it really was a pain. So then the 12 volt version comes, which is what I ordered. And I like this a lot. The tank is really nice. It goes like this, but it also has that wobbling seesaw thing and flops around, which again, I think that's very poor design. I like the tank. It's much smaller. The motor's smaller. The control valve is smaller. Everything's smaller. And like I said, all this together weighs 24 pounds compared to 36 pounds on 110. And I kind of suspected that. I was definitely going to use this portable out to the track and things like that, so that's why I bought the 12 volt. And I'm very happy to see that it is a lot lighter, and this really seems like a real nice piece. This stuff looks like it came out of an old dishwasher. Sorry, Bendpak, but it looks like it's something out of the 50s. Anyway, but both of them, doesn't matter. Both of them are mounting is terrible, and this is ridiculous. Now, interestingly enough, neither one of these came with any instructions. So I went to the Bendpak website and downloaded the instructions. It took me a little while to find them, but it's interesting because when you look at the instructions, this piece right here is not made like this. This piece here comes up and then it has a 90-degree bend and it has a kind of a long handle. Well, that's actually a very good design, because what happens is where you put your hand is going to balance the unit. But it seems like somebody decided that that 6 or 8 inch piece of metal was a little too expensive, so they just said, cut off, we don't need it, you just put your handle here. That's bad, but it would have been a whole lot better if they'd simply moved this someplace near the center instead of way down in the end. So whoever did that, made that decision, they should be, you know, looking for another job if it was my company, because that was just plain stupid. Okay, so once you get all this stuff together, it's not too bad. It does work. The lift goes up and down pretty well. I had some problems with the Subaru. I think I'll probably make a separate video on that because that's vehicle specific. But I would like to say that they claim a 3-inch, it'll slide under a 3-inch car. That's true. However, you can't do it with the blocks. They send these rubber blocks that you use to made up to the car, and they say do not, you know, lift without the rubber blocks. Don't lift on just the rails. If you put those rubber blocks on there, you can't slide it underneath a 3-inch car. They hit. So you need 3.5, maybe 4 inches to slide them under with the blocks. Or I guess you could slide it under and then crawl into the car somehow and get the blocks on it, or use some tongs. Anyways, so the other thing I want to mention about this was that when you take it apart, it's got these pretty nifty quick disconnect parts, but they leak when you take them apart. Now, when it works, it's fine, but when you're done using the device and you're going to take it apart and put it away, when you unhook the lines, they definitely leak. So there's little puddles here and there around the garage. So what I've done now is anytime I use it, I have to take a rag, wrap a rag around it. When I unhook it, let the rag soak up the little bit of ATF fluid that comes out, so it doesn't, I mean, my garage floor is not perfect anyways, but I still don't need any more additional leaks. So I just wanted to say that overall, I think it's an okay unit. 1,035 shipped, pretty decent price considering what it does. But one thing you do want to make sure is, if you're going to use this on a car that has a full frame and the frame is exposed, no problem. You may have to move it around a little bit to get it to line up, but the distance between the pads is actually pretty short. It looks kind of long in the pictures, but then when you actually read the description, you find that it's actually pretty short, like 44 inches or something, which is not a lot. That's less than 4 feet. So you have to get it in the right position. So like I said, if you got an exposed frame and the frame is more or less straight, you're probably fine. But on the Subaru, it's got these belly pans, and I guess the Mustang does too. So they got these little belly pans underneath, so you can't lift on the belly pans unless you don't mind tearing them up. So I have a solution for that. I will put that in the other video because that's definitely specific to, well, actually no, it's specific to any car that has belly pans. So what I did was, I pulled the belly pans off, and I found where the blocks are going to made up on the lift, on the frame. And what I did was, they sent you these 4 1-inch blocks and 4 4-inch blocks. So I took the 4-inch blocks, and what I did was I cut little slices, but I measured first. I measured the distance between the belly pan and the frame, and in the back it was different from the front. They were definitely different. The blocks cut really well on a bandsaw. I have bandsaws with a fine-tooth blade. So I just measured, cut the little spacers, dropped the belly pan, body panel, under body panel, whatever you want to call it. Belly pan's kind of old. But anyways, and then what I did was I glued them into position in the underbody panel, so that when I put the body panel back up, it made it right up with the frame. And then I marked the underbody panel, so I knew where to put the other blocks, the 1-inch blocks, to mate up. That way when I lift, I do push against the underbody panel. However, it's supported by a block, which I made the blocks a little bit thicker because I had to account, or I think I needed to account for a little bit of compression. So I made them about 1/16 of an inch to an 1/8 of an inch taller. And also one other thing was that where it meets up on the front, it's a little bit of an angle. It's not a perfectly flat like that, so I had to cut a little bit of an angle so that it fit in that space really well. Doing that took a long time, believe it or not, to figure out the problem. But once I got that done and got everything glued in there and I let it sit overnight because I didn't want them to move. And then the next day I came out and I was able to position the lift in an exact perfect position. And it lifted up pretty fine. Now, there is another issue. When you lift these, it moves the car forward. It lifts in an arc like this. So going up is not too bad. You go up, you put your jack stands under there, and then you let it down. Now, when you're starting to let it down, it only goes down a little bit, and it's going to hit the jack stand. You know, you can kind of move it around as you're going down. It has a real nice control. This is the 110 version, orange. The 12-volt version is yellow. It's got a little magnet on it. It's kind of nice. Sticks to the motor, like or the tank. Anyways, so but the thing is, after I get up on jack stands and I pull the lifts out because I want to be able to have full access to the car. But then when you put the car back down, you put the lifts back in. I really had a lot of trouble getting the car down because every time I would lift it up, I'd pull the it would move it, and what it's trying to do is it's trying to rock the jack stands, which is kind of unsettling because what you're doing is you're lifting and you're lifting off the jack stands, but they're kind of like leaning and it looks like the car is going to kind of fall. Probably be okay, but I'm telling you it's a little scary when you do it the first time. So, okay, those are my critique of this product. I'll be honest, I'm kind of split. It wasn't quite as easy to use as I thought it was going to be. It did work pretty well. It lifts the car fast. There's no problem with that. And even if you leave them in place, you still have pretty good clearance to get in and around the car. Although I have to tell you, it does not feel anywhere as stable as when I put them on jack stands. When you get good quality jack stands and you set the car down on the frame, on the jack stands, it's really firm. I mean, you can shake the car and it doesn't move. When it's on the BL-3500, it definitely moves. So I was going to leave it on the BL-3500 the first time I worked on the car, but I decided not to, so I put it up on jack stands. So that's my experience. I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching YouTube.